Hello there, it's me, Mouselet, and I'm back with part 2 of What If Dinosaur King characters had Digimon partners, and in this video, we'll take a look at the Alpha Gang and the Space Birds. Now, before we move on, I'd like to remind you of a few things from the previous video if you aren't that familiar with Digimon.
So, the evolution lines can go all over the place, unlike in Pokemon. There are 6 main levels for Digimon. We'll skip the first 2 in this video as they aren't important. The 4 ones we'll be talking about are Ruki or Child, Champion or Adult, Ultimate or Perfect, and Mega or Ultimate.
Now let's start where we last left off, and that's with an android. And just like with Jonathan, Helga gets a full basic line, and that is the Jazamon line. A mechanical Digimon, of course, fits an android pretty well. But also, its Mega Metallic Dramon can fly at the speed of sound, which does match Helga's running speed in the anime. And in the Digimon canon, there is a theory that by flapping its wings, it releases particles that persevere the harmony of the digital world, matching nicely with how Helga constantly keeps mainly Dr. Z in line, and the fact that, we have a whole episode where she is seen as a goddess, which this does have some godly qualities, not gonna lie. Speaking of the gremlin, Dr. Z gets a Digimon linked to some pics from the previous video. Nise Agumon Hakase, or in English, fake Professor Agumon, or fake Agumon expert. The rival to Spike's Agumon Hakase. I honestly like the idea of Spike, Reese, and Dr. Z having this research trio, as it fits them perfectly with their roles in the anime, and also all three are pretty prominent characters that give you hints during your playthrough of the arcade game. Its champion would be Tyrannomon, to represent Terry, obviously, evolving into Master Tyrannomon to somewhat symbolize his goal to become Dinosaur King. There aren't, unfortunately, any King Dinosaur Digimon, so we gotta settle with this. For Ursula, she's following in Dr. Z's footsteps, as she does in the anime, and will get Black Agumon. Side note, I'm not an Agumon person, but all of these choices just work well as a connection. Don't worry, this is the last Agumon of the video. The champion would be Dark Tyrannomon. Now, I know that this would work very well as a Black T-Rex reference for Seth, but I do have a better suiting line for him. And the reason why I chose Dark Tyrannomon for Ursula is once again a Terry reference, but also it represents how she is the biggest reflection of Dr. Z's influence. His treatment essentially creating more dangerous demons than he is himself, seen with both Ursula and also with the secret dinos. And Dark Tyrannomon did have a fight with a Palamon evolution in Digimon Adventure, where he gets freed from a virus inside it, and if you remember, I gave Palamon to Zoe, symbolizing how the D-Team's influence changed the Alpha Gang. And then another creature with plant-based powers did change Ursula. That moment in the anime of her refusing to go back on the island is so powerful, and I want to reflect that in the perfect level Rise Greymon, showing her desire to break from her connection to Dr. Z and escape his abuse, followed by the Mega being pretty underused Victory Greymon. Well, that was a long one. Let's move to Xander, whose partner will be Dracmon. It's a creepy and mischievous Digimon, working well as a callback to Xander's original personality, mainly seen in his 2-volume manga depiction. Another cool connection is that eyes are pretty prominent theme with Dracmon, it even having an attack that allows it to possess people if they look into the eyes on his palms, while Xander's eyes are something basically hidden from the audience. We do see them sometimes, but still a pretty big thing with him, I would say. Of course, this creepy, mischievous, and undead theme will be broken at the perfect level, where similarly to Ursula, Xander shows that he isn't a terrible person, and his Dracmon takes on the form of Angelmon. Yeah, it's a blonde, feminine angel. Here is the reason reference. I couldn't resist. It also makes the transition into the Mega Marine Angemon to fold in the fact that he mainly uses water in the anime more natural. Unfortunately, I don't have a big character development line for Ed as I had with the other two, but if we go by the anime, Ed doesn't really show his evil side, and also, unlike his siblings, didn't have a focused episode like that. Since throughout the franchise, Ed is known as the computer guy, I gave him a machine-based line, so no Ankylamon. Good work, couldn't just figure out a full line. Starting with Haguramon, it would evolve into Ballistamon, which outside of one season of the anime, hasn't really been used. Its perfect would be Nanomon. Sticking with the mechanical theme for a bit, Rod's partner will be Kokuamon. Rod is the mechanic of the Alpha Gang, and outside of the anime mainly uses lightning dinos, and Kokuamon is a taser. Its champion is Quagamon, which in the first episode of the English dub of Digimon Adventure shares the exact same roar as the arcade and Japanese dub Yanchoanosaurus that Rod does have a combined card with. And it leads nicely into Metal-like Quagamon, which I just personally like, and I can see Rod using. Laura gave me some troubles, because with the theme that I wanted for her, I couldn't make up a full line, because all the Digimon I wanted to use are perfect level. Anyways, I ended up choosing a Kakimon to a Mechamon, since Laura is still a very young child, followed by X-Tyrannomon. First of all, it's a puppet plush, which works for a young kid, but also similarly to another Digimon that I consider Monzemon, there is something sinister living inside of this plush, matching Laura's innocent looks but sinister nature in the 2-volume manga. And the fact that it is a Tyrannomon plush links nicely to Dr. Z. Abandoning the Alpha Gang just like Seth did, let's take a look at this blueberry bastard. It was a big back and forth with him, but I eventually settled with Karamon as his rookie. It's straight up an actual virus that is said to see the destruction it causes as part of its play, which can be compared to Seth. The champion would be Wizardmon, which will link to something later on, turning into Vamdemon, the vampire Digimon. Seth himself gives off some vampiric vibes, but also both of them were prevalent late Season 1 antagonists that manipulated people around them and came back in Season 2 as a plot twist, once again manipulating and betraying the ones that they used. The part in both fandoms that is attracted to men heavily sims for these guys. As for the Mega, it's Lucemon Full Diamond. The statement still applies here. The half and half of Lucemon reflects the double-sidedness of Seth, and according to a reference book, it tends to destroy the world and create a new one, which is literally Seth's goal in Season 2. The main reason why I chose Lucemon is because it's part of the 7 Great Demon Lords, the strongest one of them all actually, and it is the Demon Lord of Pride, which fits Seth pretty well. I did consider Megatramon and Megindramon, but then the Demon Lord connection just popped up into my head, and it was too good to pass. Moving on to another blue-haired man, Foolscap gets Pico Devimon. They're both flying blue and annoying. Well, there's me bullying Foolscap again. I can just see both of them causing mischief together. Quickly skipping to the Mega, it's another Demon Lord, and this time it's Barbamon, Demon Lord of Greed. Now, Sloth would definitely work for Foolscap as well, but as we see, Foolscap has a thing for stealing the most random things. unlike the other two, of course, and as a pirate, greed is pretty fitting. Now, my choices for Garo are honestly the weakest out of this video, but I settled on very beast Digimon for him as Gazimon and Boromon, with Boromon's flames representing the fire element of Gygus. The Mega ended up being Belphemon Rage Mode, the Demon Lord of Sloth. Not the best match, but out of the options, Belphemon works the best visually. Shira's champion will be the Vidramon to show the dangerous side of her, and its perfect will be Lady Devamon because, come on! It is basically Shira, but taller. And you know what I said about Seth and the Sims attracted to men? Yeah, the same thing goes for Shira and Lady Devamon, but Sims attracted to women. Moving to the Mega, which would be Lilithmon, the Demon Lord of Lust, the Sim thing still applies. I'd also love to show you a Lilithmon X, just because I just love this design. Let's just appreciate this beauty. Spectre's partner is Kudamon from 2006. As it's mainly seen just hanging around Satsuma's shoulders in Digimon Saver, similar to just Brontekin's being a little pet. Now, Brontekins does act like a cat, so Tailmon being the champion feels appropriate, and it links back to Sev's Wizardmon, as in Adventure, Tailmon and Wizardmon had pretty close bond, and both were used by Vandemon. Oh. With Sev having Vandemon, it resulted in Spectre's perfect level being a Paimon, since these two can fuse into Volto Bautamon, a pirate Digimon. Wow, I really made more Sev Spec references in this video than Rezen ones, huh? As for the Mega, it's Demon. It's the Demon Lord of Wrath, and Specky over here does have some anger issues, which I don't blame him for. And last but not least, Goma. I think Gilmon is a nice match. You know, just really a dinosaur Digimon that is not Agumon. But the major reason for this choice is the fact that Gilmon has the potential to deal massive damage to the computer data. Just like Yokakiri's Omega Phoenix can cause massive damage to its surroundings. Look, I just think that a Digimon that has a symbol on it that is for something called straight up digital hazard, I can definitely see this working for Goma. It would evolve into Flare Lizardmon, and then into Megalograumon. Now, there are codes inside of the arcade for the Space Pirates using secret dinos. Goma himself doesn't have one, but I'd say that Megalosaurus would fit him well, matching the Megalograumon. It would evolve into Mega Leviamon, the Demon Lord of Envy. Pride would work for Goma as well, but I think Envy could have been something that could have been explored with Goma. Him being the ruler of the Shadow Kingdom, being envious of the D-Team having normal lives, something along those lines. Also, Leviamon being red and aquatic fits the baryonyx that he uses in the Pterosaur Legends manga, while the previous 3 fire-based stages represent his Irokakeria from the arcade and Mapusaurus and Acrocanthosaurus that he uses in the manga. Well, and that's it for this video. I'm not the happiest with some of these choices, especially with Garo. That man is a nightmare to pick stuff for, but I hope that you did enjoy it either way. And please go check out Carney X, whose video inspired me to make this whole thing, and possibly similar videos in the future, not relating to Digimon, but just Dinosaur King itself. Go check out my friend Fullscape Amato, who makes some cool Dinosaur King AMVs as well. And of course, you'll find all of these links in the description, including the link to my main channel, Mouselet. And I hope to see you soon.